We'll call the meeting to order. If I could ask everyone to please stand and join us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for this opportunity, God, to come and to serve our county here as pastors, as commissioners. Lord, I just ask that you bless each one up here. Lord, bless us with mercy and wisdom and guidance. Lord, everything that we do here tonight will be done in your name, Father. Lord, I ask that you just bless our people here in Wakulla County as we go through these tough times ahead. Lord, I ask that you just lead us as we go into a new budget year. It's just started here on October 1, that you just help us to provide for the things that we most desperately need in our county, for our people. And we ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Any changes? Ms. Arch?
I just wanted to add 2 items under discussion. One is board approval of a letter of support for a grant that the Wakulla Chamber of Commerce is submitting for funding to get window coverings, window treatment for the courthouse.
Okay.
And I also wanted to talk briefly about a workshop that I attended at St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge.
Okay. Jerry?
I'm fine. Sherry,
Alan?
I've got 2 quick announcements for awards and presentations.
Okay. Randy?
I'll just talk about my discussion.
Okay. You have to add one under there?
No, I mean, just at the end when they all
Okay.
call.
Okay. All right.
We need, Chairman, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to pull item number 4 on the consent agenda, and we'll discuss it. Move for discussion.
That's the airport?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to pull, I want to request pull item number 5 to discuss.
Pull 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Motion approved. Agenda is modified.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Merritt. Seconded by Mr. Brock. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And the public hearing, request board approval to conduct the public hearing and consider adopting the proposed ordinance amending the commissioner districts of Wakulla County. And Melissa Corbett will let you lead us into this.
All right. Just a little bit of background on this. The Florida Constitution requires that the Board of County Commissioners divide the county into districts following each census that comes out. So we had our census in 2010. The Florida statutes also state that the board fix the boundaries so that they equally divide the population between all of the districts. The last time the board revised its district boundaries was on August 27th back in 2001 after the 2000 census came out. And then in preparation for this year's adjustments, at the August 1st, 2011 board meeting, the board directed staff to advertise for this public hearing to adopt a revised district boundary map that will equally distribute the population. The map you see on the PowerPoint now is actually the existing commission districts that are currently in place. The proposal that was advertised for this evening's hearing is now represented on the board. And the advertisement for this public hearing appeared in the October 20th, 2011 edition of the Wakulla News. A large majority of the population growth in the county over the last 10 years has been in Crawfordville. And staff worked to try and ensure that the districts had the population distributed equally, and so since a lot of population growth was in Crawfordville, you'll see that that area actually shrunk a little bit while the others got larger. The largest percent difference in population between any of these proposed districts is actually 0.2%. We did try and work hard to equally distribute that. And as part of that, it's important to take in mind that it was staff's understanding that the board did not wish to include the inmate population at the correctional facility within the population when dividing up the district. So there's about 1,307 individuals that were within the facility that do not vote, and so that area falls in District 1, and so the District 1 boundaries were expanded to account for that. And subsequent to the board's direction to advertise this map, a couple of alternative maps have been created, and those have been provided to you this evening in hard copy. One actually came forward in the packet as attachment 8. That was Commissioner Brock's attachment. That has been slightly tweaked. Unfortunately, and I apologize, I don't have those alternates included in the PowerPoint, but the other slides that I did have show the blow-ups of the area in the advertised map that is described in the draft ordinance this evening. So it shows the District 1 boundaries there. This is a close-up of District 3 and the areas it encompasses, everything there on the right of Crawfordville Highway, south of Wakulla Aaron, to the west of Spring Creek, and to the north of 98. Then I also wanted to highlight the area in Panacea. That actually would put the Panacea area within District 5 in this proposal. And then there is a section in the Medart area that bumps out going along Friendship Church Road and Floyd Gray Road that would be encompassed within District 4. The area in purple there is District 4 on the right. The area on the left side in the green would fall in District 5, and that's the Lake Ellen area. And then this alternate map is no longer accurate, so I will back up from that. But that is the original one that was included in the packet. The new alternate maps that you have in front of you, one from Commissioner Brock, one from Commissioner Arts, do keep all of the board members and school board members in their respective districts. So I know that you may have heard there was a concern with one of those not including all of the school board members in their existing districts, but that has been corrected. And the recommendation was for option 1. I'll be happy to answer any questions, try and guide you through as best I can.
Option 1 being the original.
Being the original map that was advertised, and the legal descriptions have been prepared for that map. That is the one that the school board has preliminarily reviewed and the board gave direction to advertise.
Okay. Well,
I make a motion we accept the original, option number 1.
okay. Have a
Well,
motion.
first to conduct the public hearing and adopt.
Right. Conduct a public hearing and adopt.
I move to conduct the public hearing and postpone adopting an ordinance till after we've had discussion.
There's already a motion.
Can we do
Got a
that?
motion on the floor. Let me deal with this motion and see if we get a second.
Gary's motion.
Okay. So we have a motion to advertise the public hearing and accept the staff's recommendation, which has already been reviewed by the school board. I know there's some other changes, and we'll get there, Ms. Arts. Let's just get this on the floor, and then we can talk about it. Okay, go ahead and tell us why you propose moving it somewhat different. I mean, it's not a major change.
Right. Okay. Well, first I apologize to Commissioner Brock, who wanted to hold a workshop, because now I think we should have held a workshop, and I wasn't aware that our attorney had made that recommendation also. When I first saw the first map up there, the new map, I mean, it looks nice. And the main thing I observed was that Medart, which is much of the area that was previously in District 5, that's part of the Medart community, right below 3, was gone, and now in District 4, which I didn't give great concern to. But I have since come to appreciate that what they were trying to do was follow major highways. And they use 98 as the boundary in many cases, which is okay maybe toward the eastern part of the county. But 98, Medart is on both sides of 98, and Panacea is both sides of 98. And so if you use 98 to draw your boundaries, you're splitting Panacea into 2 different commissioners' districts, and you're splitting Medart. And on the one hand, all commissioners are elected countywide, and so it's not as if only Panacea votes and elects its commissioner, and that, there wouldn't be confusion in that way. But there may be times when people in Panacea, for example, would want to have a waterfronts meeting and invite their commissioner to attend. But if we go with this map, they'll have 2 commissioners and only one can be there. And that just seems a little awkward to me. The other thing that became apparent to me, the more I looked at this map, is if you focus in on the Floyd Gray, and if you could go to that close-up, in addition to losing part of Medart that's east of this intersection, it takes this chunk out of Medart, which is actually, we've talked about developing an overlay for the village of Medart that would have a town center or village center. And I had envisioned the village center right there on this stretch of 98, sort of near where the fire station is, and somewhere in that general area. So what that means is a good part of Medart, including what would be the town center of Medart, is probably, with this map, moving into District 4. But then some areas of Medart, like Lake Ellen and, that whole stays District 5. So as Medart grows, then you run into the same issue that Panacea is going to have from the get-go, of having 2 commissioners representing Medart. So, again, I apologize that this didn't hit me much earlier in this process, but when I realized it on Friday, I sat down with Melissa and tried to come up with an alternate map that basically restores the boundaries that were in place previously for Medart and Panacea. And I know you can't see it on the PowerPoint, but could you go back to the original? And they aren't nice and clean, and they don't follow 98, but if you go back to basically it keeps all of Panacea back in District 4, and it adds those blobs that were south of 98 for Medart, and it keeps the section we just highlighted that might become the town center in District 5. But to balance the numbers, we did add a little bit. We took a little bit out of 4, I think, just to try and get the numbers that sort of heads towards Spring Creek. Purified Bay, I think, is the area.
Correct.
Purified Bay. So there's a slight change from the old map in that regard. But basically those were the only changes I made. It was the borders of 4 and 5 going from the 98 boundary back to closer to what have been the boundaries for the last decade or longer.
You don't change anything on Obey?
I did not from...
Your changes were just Panacea and Medart.
Right.
I don't have any problem with that.
Okay. I mean, again, Melissa and I started out, well, not with this one, we started out with the map and tried to work backward.
Okay. Well, Ellen had a proposal.
Thank you. I made a proposal of a map, and I appreciate Commissioner Hart saying that a workshop might have been nice, and we maybe been able to work it out a little earlier. I just mainly want to submit mine. I'm not going to push for it. The changes I made in large part put St. Mark's in District 1, which is which is not District 5 where it's done right now, or District 4 where it is right now. I apologize. But I'm hoping that by putting it in the record, when we do this again in a decade, it might be something we'll be able to look at again and consider as another alternative. I don't have strong feelings about it. It's just something I wanted to see us do. Or think about doing in the future. Or this time, but we can postpone. Yeah, and again, one of the issues with our maps is we're all elected at large in Wakulla County. So our districts is important where we live, but we all represent every community. And someday we may even we could look at perhaps doing away with districts and just electing people at large.
Although I think a lot of citizens still tend to, if they're just going to contact one commissioner, they contact the commissioner for their district. And you know, I think even though we all view the whole county as our constituency and will help anybody anywhere, I think I maybe make a little extra effort to make sure that Sopchoppy and Smith Creek's and MedArt's interests are in the forefront because I'm their representative.
Will this cost anything to redo this? You said the legal's already been written. Are they written in-house and we got to pay somebody to rewrite them?
Actually, I had to get assistance with the legal descriptions from the property appraiser's office in drafting those legal descriptions. If the board did decide that you'd like to move forward with a different map, it would need to be re-advertised. So there would be an additional advertisement.
And we're going to have a special meeting.
I think Ms. Arts has a very good position on that. I've lived all over from 98, south of 98. I've lived from the east all the way to the west. And I lived in St. Mark's for a year and a half. And I spent time at Shell Point a little bit. I live in Panacea. And I have property in Obey or somewhere down that way. So I think your idea is good. We don't really disturb anything. We just sort of keep it the same. So
In that end of the county.
And normally I don't agree with Ms. Arts, but I will agree with her.
This special meeting that would have to be called, we couldn't do that at a regular scheduled board meeting? Or there's only one in December anyway?
There's only one in December, so that's what the problem is.
And has to have a 30-day advertising. We could change the date of our December meeting.
That's a good idea. We don't have to have 2 meetings. I don't think it really matters. I kind of agree with Ms. Arts on some points too, though, because a lot of people say, I was told you were my commissioner, even though we're all at large. That does happen, and you know, I'm not going to.
Well, we would have 2 people in the same waterfront, so Ms. Arts, I have that problem with the Chamber of Commerce and all over the place. 2 of us can't go to the same meeting. If we can, we need to be quiet, and that's hard to do, isn't it, Ms. Arts?
I'm fine with this. I guess it just bothers me that we waited till the 11th hour to do this, and now we're going to be in a bind to get it done. I think that's unfair to the staff, and I mean, we're all elected countywide. I don't see the big deal, but Paige, you had a comment. I just wish we'd have gotten it done sooner than today.
Paige Colleen, Panacea, Florida. I appreciate the time and effort that I know that has been put into this, but unfortunately, tonight I represent the Panacea Waterfronts Partnership, and as a community organization, we usually are in on things. We knew nothing about this, not a thing, until today when Ms. Arts, we got her email, and we really would like to see Panacea as one whole district. I hate that like Commissioner Stewart said, that this is at the 11th hour. But the fact of the matter is, the community of Panacea and the waterfronts issue is important. And, we would be going between two commissioners trying to get things done, and it would cause some problems for us, because right now we do know that Mr. Moore is our commissioner. We have an ongoing, relationship with him, and I think from what I've heard from my Panacea Waterfronts community, the other members of our board and some of our members, we really would like to see this stay as one community. Thank you so much.
We're trying to find out if the advertising will work. Is it got to be 10 days or 30 days?
That's what I was just asking Melissa about, because I wasn't sure where the 30 days came from. There's an after-the-fact advertising requirement for 2 weeks, but that's after you act, so...
The other thing is we got to keep in mind the school board's got to act too, and they only have certain meeting dates, and they need to get it done as well. So we got to, if we can move quickly, it gives them time to do what they need to do. So is 10 days appropriate?
I believe so. We can certainly schedule it for December 5th, and if that's a problem, we'll have to let you know. But I don't know if Chapter 24 talks about advertising your minutes for 2 weeks after you adopt it, so that could be done after the 5th.
Is it possible that the Wakulla News, can we get that in there this week? Is it too late? Okay, there we go. We can do that. So I'm fine with doing what you want to, Lynn. If we can do all that and still make it work. So it sounds like that could work. Yes.
Commissioner Arts, just looking at this, Abby, I know there's one of the apps on the document goes and makes sure that all the there's no orphaned pieces of district, because it looks like I can't tell on here. Just the edge is a little rough. There might be little pockets because the census blocks are so bizarre. So you might want to have Melissa, and I can show Melissa the app before we leave today, to make sure there's no orphaned pieces. I don't know if there are.
Yeah, Melissa's the one who actually, I was watching her, but she went through and clicked on all the census tracts trying to make sure there weren't any left behind.
I don't think it will leave. It won't.
There is the possibility if you accidentally click one of the census blocks twice, it would leave one of them unassigned. So if this is the map that the board would like to move forward with, I will go back, double check, make sure there's no issues or concerns in that regard. But to the best of my knowledge, we don't have any issues like that.
I assume that the line in the National Forest is really just there for looks. Obviously nobody lives there. I'm just out of curiosity, the old one, had a big swath of the National Forest. I don't really care. I'm just curious why that line would.
You used to be able to manipulate this by road boundaries and rivers and whatever, but now you can't. It's just simple GIS blocks of land that might split right through your house.
Miss
Can't do anything about it.
Picked up several 100,000 acres of pine trees.
And she picked up a few people who are living out in the woods.
It's actually faster when writing the legal description to have the boundary go along a roadway. And that particular one that went along Forest Road 313 there along District 2 made it much simpler for the legal description aspect of it.
Okay, so Jerry, you need to modify your motion to adopt the proposed change.
I would like to modify my motion to accept the change that Ms. Arts put forward.
And advertise as such.
And advertise.
And December 5th meeting.
Yeah, and we'll verify that advertisement will be appropriate, and if not, we'll let you know.
Yes.
You can make modifications. That
We'll shoot for the 21st of November meeting. That way that gives the school board time.
And I'll amend my second, subject to staff review and just make sure everything's nice and
we'll shoot for the 21st. Okay? Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Ms. Arts. Next is awards and presentations. First is an announcement by 211 Big Ben, Inc. Is that Jocelyn Liger?
Fligger, yes.
Fligger.
Yes.
Training coordinator, and Francisco Thomas, bilingual counselor.
We actually have Martha Mitchell instead of
Okay.
Francisco.
I apologize.
And thank you, Chairman Stewart and the commission members for allowing us the opportunity to speak tonight. 211 is the gateway to human services in the Big Bend 8-county region. It's an easy-to-remember number like 411 or 911. We provide 24-hour-a-day free crisis counseling, information, and referrals to social service agencies. Our counselors are trained for extensive, in excess of 75 hours. The callers can choose to remain anonymous, and they can call at any time for any reason. They don't have to be in crisis at the time. We keep an up-to-date information database that provides resources for social service agencies in the 8-county area. We also print it out in a book for anyone that might be in the field and unable to access the internet as well. This is called our Community Resource Directory. Our website provides the same searchable database, and every county has its own web page for us. It's 211bigbend.org/Wakulla would be the one for Wakulla. We answer 40,000 plus calls every year on not only our 211 Big Bend hotline, but also our HIV hotline that's available for the entire state of Florida, our family health line that helps people navigate the Medicaid system and deals with pregnancy and infancy, our parent helpline, which is statewide. We can provide counseling to overstressed parents as well as resources and referrals for them. We have a dedicated national suicide prevention hotline. We are also the only agency in the Panhandle of Florida that provides an applied suicide intervention skills training to the community. We have an oil spill distress helpline that is ending in December, but anyone still affected by the oil spill, which there are many, they can still continue to receive mental health services through our 211 Big Bend helpline. We answer questions about the VITA program, where people can come and get information about where to get their taxes prepared for free. We have a kiosk in the Leon County Courthouse and would like to branch that out and get into the other courthouses in our Big Bend area. The kiosk can provide a searchable database where if they may, for whatever reason, can't call in, or if they're in the courthouse looking for resources, they can assist there. We help with emergency management services should there be a disaster. We are the place to call to free up the 911 system, where they can call and find out where sandbags are, emergency routes. We are also active in the COAD, the Community Organizations Active in Disaster, and we are a part of BigBendWorks.com as well.
It's something that some of the agencies like to put up in there, showing that we're always there to help. And we have visited today places here in Wakulla County and distributed some materials. And we appreciate you letting us be here tonight very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Are we allowed to leave these for you too?
Yes, absolutely. Just give them to Jessica, and she'll make sure they get in the right place. Thank y'all, ladies. Next is announcing America Recycles Day, November 15, 2011. Joanne Palmer and Nancy Paul.
Good evening, Chairman Stewart, Commissioners. Glad to be here to talk about America Recycles Day. It began in 1997 by the Keep America Beautiful system, and it's a way for communities to help communities promote recycling. So what different communities do are offer pledge cards, and there's competitions for the school that gets the most pledge cards, or the civic organization. Some events have included cash for aluminum cans, electronics collection, and other opportunities to collect pledge cards. On November 19th this year, it's always on November 15th as a designated day, but on November 19th, which is a Saturday, Leon County and Sustainable Tallahassee are hosting an event for which you're all invited. I brought some flyers for you. We're going to have, it's going to be at the solid waste facilities where we can promote their state-of-the-art landfill and all the things that go along with that, as well as Sustainable Tallahassee's doing a fundraiser that's a 5K run called the Trash Dash. And we'll have exhibits, hot dogs, lunch, entertainment, everything will be in the morning before the football game that afternoon. And as a new board member for Keep Wakulla County Beautiful, I am excited about the possibilities that we have here in the county to promote recycling and litter abatement. We, as an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, we can make full use of the national sponsorships and all of the perks that go with that. And also we're looking for grant opportunities to expand what we do here in Wakulla County. I think we're gaining momentum by taking steps to upgrade our bylaws and promote corporate and individual members as well as networking opportunities. So you'll see us around at events, participating in local events, and we hope to engage students in a new and exciting way. So this year I encourage you to log on to americarecyclesday.org and take the pledge to do more recycling in your home and look for Keep Wakulla County Beautiful to do more to promote our clean and green and beautiful environment.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. And next is the report of the Recycling Task Force. Pamela Joy, Bruce Ashley, Jim Griner, Shelley Swenson, Joanne Palmer, and Cleve Fleming.
Fellow Commissioners and County Administrators. My name is Pamela Joy, and I'm here to represent the Recycle Task Force. We're going to give you a short presentation of what we've done in the past year and what our future goals are. And each person can identify themselves when they come up. I'm reporting on the county office efforts. Even before Waste Pro, we had established additional collection sites in each building, including the constitutionals, for paper, cans, plastic, and cardboard. And our own facilities management people were maintaining this. Excuse me. The task force supported the contract for Waste Pro, and we appreciate what they have brought to the county recycling efforts and also the cooperation that they continue to display in working out individual issues and even commercial issues at this point. We've also found a source to recycle the large ink canisters from our copiers and fax machines, and those were not all that easy to recycle. We've worked with the media to promote and encourage recycling, and we've had several articles published. In March, one of our articles was picked up by Florida Newsletters, which is a statewide service that monitors over 1,000 publications, and they talked about Wakulla County. I'd like to turn this over to our other members of the task force to speak about additional efforts, and then I'll tell you about some of our future plans. Thank you.
I'm Shelley Swenson, representing the Wakulla County Extension Office, and I want to tell you about one of your offices and what's going on there in this effort. As many of you know, we are basically programmed by our advisory committee's suggestions of the needs of Wakulla County and what they feel like the Extension Service has to offer those people. One day one of our advisory members said, "I think you better start walking the walk if you're going to talk the talk." Wham! It hit us in the middle. We're out there teaching sustainability, but we weren't showing it in our office. That was 4 years ago, and I'd like you to know about the changes that have been made, not only educationally, but as well as the way we're running our office. Some of the things we're doing in education during our 4-H culinary camp this summer, each camper brought a place setting of dishes, and we eliminated the use of all disposable items. During culinary camp, each camper made a picnic pack that included non-disposables and a picnic bag to travel with. Each made a tablecloth and 4 napkins to encourage reuse and repurposing. We discussed the different biodegradable products on the market to familiarize young people with the fact that not all items are biodegradable in a compost pile. Some of them need the actual center that deals with that particular product. We utilize the back of paper whenever possible. We have a bin for paper that's reused, and we utilize it whenever appropriate for computer printing as well as scratch pads. We have a county recycling bin at our property available to the public. We purchased a dishwasher for our kitchen off our meeting room and almost entirely eliminated the use of styrofoam and paper products. Research supports the fact that dishwashing in a dishwasher saves money. Compared with washing dishes by hand, you can save 5,000 gallons of water, $40 in utility costs, and 230 hours of your time if you're using an Energy Star qualified dishwasher. We shopped rummage sales and thrift shops for pottery dishes, silverware, cups, and glasses so that when we program, when it includes food, we use no disposables. We offered a session on trashing up Wakulla County to all students at MedArc School during their annual Project Learning Tree. And the question that glazed the students' eyes was when I said, and when you throw that wrapper out of the window, who's following behind you to pick it up? Glazed. Never thought of it. We partnered with Sustainable Big Band to offer a seminar in recycling of plastic by showing the movie Addicted to Plastic and then hosting a creativity session of making something artistic out of the trash that could be picked up along the highways in Wakulla County for the Seek or Sharing Environmental Education Knowledge campers under the leadership of Commissioner Arts. I would love to show you the pictures of what these students made of the trash from our county. This was to raise the awareness of the way plastic has overcome our world, has taken it over, and how much of it is left in situations where it will never be returned to the environment because it's non-biodegradable, and it certainly won't be recycled if thrown out of the pickup window. Living sustainably is a part of the educational mission of the UF-IFAS Wakulla County Extension Office. Representatives from our office are or have been involved in the following committees: keeping Wakulla roads clean, the Recycling Committee, and the Energy Committee. We're committed to all the educational ventures and venues that teach and preach sustainable living practices.
Good evening, Commissioners. Bruce Ashley with the Sheriff's Office. Just to bring you up to date with our Sheriff's efforts, we currently recycle 100% of all cardboard generated from our operations. We currently recycle 100% of all unused metal from our operations. We reuse a lot of metal in our own maintenance and building things that we need. We are currently and have instituted since the Recycle Task Force initiated 100% recycling on all metal cans generated through our jail facility, and we use a qualified vendor to recycle all of our documents that we shred throughout the year. Many of our documents are not public records, and so we use a qualified vendor for the shredding of those records. And many of our, due to the Recycling Task Force and the effort and the attention put on it by the county, many of our members in the Sheriff's Office now have boxes by their desks and are collecting individually things that they know can be recycled. We stay a very strong partner with Keep Wakulla Beautiful. We maintain the mobile recycle unit, placing that in the county in locations, and worked with Keep Wakulla Beautiful to put recycle bins in the community for the use by its citizens. Sheriff Crum has instituted in the last month strong rules on all members as far as using lights and saving energy, cutting down on thermostat use, cutting down on idling vehicles, and basically I work every day without the lights on in my office because enough ambient light comes through the window. So we're all taking steps to try and conserve and recycle through the Sheriff's operations.
I'm Joanne Palmer with Keep Wakulla County Beautiful, and I'd like to thank the Commission for your continued support of this important program. Most recently, Keep Wakulla County Beautiful hosted the Fall Hazardous Waste Day, and Commissioner Brock was there greeting the participants as they came through, and we collected the largest amount of hazardous waste to date, and that included the 1,470 fluorescent lights, and that's like these lights here, 150 pounds of non-PCP batteries, 4,090 pounds of flammable waste, acids and batteries like car batteries and rechargeables, 1,230 gallons of toxic and acid liquids, 1,225 gallons of latex paint, and 150 gallons of gas, oil, and diesel. We hosted a booth also at the Mighty Mullet Festival, which actually Nancy, Paul, and Doreen, who are members of the board, hosted to answer questions about what happens with Keep Wakulla County Beautiful, and to pass out flyers that were produced by the Recycling Task Force to inform people what can be recycled, because a lot of people have said, I have this bin, now I don't know what to do with it. So we're trying to educate. That is a main part we're trying to do. And in September we hosted the Coastal Cleanout, which accounted for approximately 10,200 pounds of trash and debris being removed from the shores and coastlines. And as part of the daily operations of the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office in support of Keep Wakulla County Beautiful, they to date have collected 177,200 pounds of litter from the county roads, and that's just as of this year. They no longer pick up the state highways, and in 2010 they collected a total of 201,930 pounds. Now those numbers alone show that there has a problem in this community with litter, and that there is environmental conscience of the people who bother to come to hazardous waste, and we appreciate everyone's support. And so this confirms the importance to continue the commitment to find the cause and to work against littering. The support you as our county commissioners have done is critical in this effort, and change comes from the top. So by being involved in the Recycling Task Force, I'm able to report back to Keep Wakulla County Beautiful's board what is going on in the county that complements our missions, and to avoid duplicate efforts in either interest. We work closely to accomplish the common goal, which is to educate our community and to provide the necessary tools to ensure a successful recycling program. Waste Pro was involved in both of the events that we hosted, and we appreciate their support. On Saturday, Keep Wakulla County Beautiful had a recycle bin placed at Hudson Park. So for the Veterans Day Festival, I attended the Ability hosted by the Wakulla County School Board, which was Thursday. As a Rotary member, Rotary Club met there, and there was not one thing to put recycling in. That just distressed me, because many times we've talked about that. So I had a bin placed there. I'm not sure how much was collected, but it was an opportunity to have the collection offered in the public event for the first time that I know of. And that has been a major task that the Recycling Task Force has wanted to accomplish. So I hope that you'll see this bin at every public event in the parks. And in an effort to offer non-residential recycling in a public area such as the beach at Shell Point and St. Mark's community near the city offices, and a third undetermined location yet, Keep Wakulla County Beautiful has provided a 6-hole recycling bin that Waste Pro has agreed to service, because until we work out the commercial or quote non-residential, we need somewhere. So these bins are located in an area that non-residential, in a park, or somewhere a non-residential service will be provided. We hope that citizens won't misuse these containers, because that's not the intent, but we hope that they will embrace this opportunity to work with us so that this is a successful program. In closing, Keep Wakulla County Beautiful is moving forward enthusiastically to update our bylaws and to energize the board. We need people interested in making sure this program continues. So we're soliciting new members, and we hope to expand our mission to stress more education and sustainability practices. All of these efforts are to abate litter, promote recycling, and reduce waste. Working with the Recycling Task Force is an important partnership as we move forward in this community. Thank you.
Commissioners, thank you for having me. I'm Jim Griner with the Wakulla County School Board. The school board continues to recycle. We kind of got two fronts with the school board. We recycle all of our metals, plastics, cans. We also do the education side, and our kids learn from K through 12 in environmental sciences about recycling. So we're hitting on both fronts. One of the big things I know we've come out with today, I found out today, we're going to be able to take our 1-gallon metal cans that we use in the lunchrooms, and we're going to finally be able to start recycling those. Just to give you an idea of what we have, we get about 225 of those a day. That's a day for the school district. So we're hoping that we'll be able to recycle all of that, put it into to the bin that's been provided for us, and get those taken care of.
On the other side, with the education side, like you heard, our Project Learning Tree. We're one of the I think we are the only county in Florida that has all of our elementary schools and our pre-K on board with the Project Learning Tree. We also have a bunch of other entities that come in. We have our own that are from within that help us with the recycling. And there's a bunch of them I could go over with you and let you know what we're doing, but there is a lot that the school district does with our recycling. Thank you. I'm Cleve Fleming, Wakulla County Public Works. And this is a report that we'd originally prepared, or we're planning to prepare in a couple of months, but this is kind of a summary of how the recycling program has improved since we've gone to a door-to-door service with door-to-door collection of both the household waste and the recyclables. We're having to take two different reporting methods and kind of merge them into one, and Waste Pro and I'll get that refine this a little bit better, but we had our each individual stream reported where Waste Pro co-mingles their recyclable streams. But the first one was for the cardboard, newspapers, white papers, any paper products you recycle. During the first month, and we've only had 1 month of data, Waste Pro collected 27 tons of white goods or paper products, and that compares to what we would do in a month of 21 tons. Now, Waste Pro's number is a little bit misleading because they have not caught up with their commercial cardboard yet. I mean, you've got those bins might not be emptied for 2 weeks at a time. So I expect that number to come up. Then the second category Waste Pro has is the co-mingle, and that's your aluminum cans, your glass, your plastics, and your tin cans and plastics 1 through 7. And during the first month, Waste Pro collected 34.6 tons of recyclables co-mingled, compared to what we would average was 13 tons per month. So for the month, Waste Pro collected both paper products and the co-mingle of 62.7 tons, compared to what we were doing is 34 tons a month. So almost doubled our recycling rates for just the first 30 days of the program. So I think it's just going to improve. The feedback I've got, of course, I know we've had some growing pains with Waste Pro, but the feedback I've got from the recycling program is that people say they recycle more because they have a bin at the door. So it's definitely worked. It's definitely improved our Wakulla County's recycling rates. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, many of you know that I don't speak without notes, but I have a couple of things I thought I wanted to say. And one is, I did not know everything that the Extension Office was doing, and I am so impressed. I knew part of it, but I did not know it all, and it makes the rest of us look bad. But I'm very happy about that. And we talk about this at some of our meetings, how we try to encourage our coworkers to recycle. And we walk through the offices, and I try not to be a pain to anybody, but I always, can I get you a box? Can I, and I pick up a can, an aluminum can out of somebody's trash can and put it in the recycle bin. And I try to be diplomatic and I try to be nice, but those of us on the committee, we're all a lot of fanatics about recycling, and we really want this to happen. And now, meanwhile, back to my notes. What our plans are for the next year or for the future are, we have a new focus now. We want to focus on continued education and public awareness through media and local events and do things like that, so that we can let people know what they can recycle and what it means to the county and how to do it, how to go about it. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is we want to request the county directors and managers to get involved in encouraging the staff to recycle. We want to see the county lead by example, and that's our goal for this year. And we just want to keep Wakulla beautiful. And we thank you. Oh, and I want to recognize Commissioner Arts for her efforts, and I thank you. And for everyone on the committee, thank you so much.
Okay.
I got a quick question, if I could, for Cleve. Cleve, does Waste Pro delineate I know they recycle, I'm sorry, Marpan. I know they recycle everything. Do they delineate that this load came from Wakulla County? Because I know we got to report that on our recycling.
Yes.
And I assume that the volume of the landfill has dropped greatly. Okay. I'll let Marpan answer.
I'm Nancy Paul. I'm the general manager for Marpan Recycling, and yes, we do. We report by county to DEP. So we ask people when they come through the scale where it comes from. So we try to capture everything that Wakulla brings to us so that you can get credit for it.
Only reason I said that, I hate to say this now, but I took a load there and nobody said anything to me. I mean, just went over the scale.
We try.
I understand. Believe me, I've been there.
Okay, next is the announcement of Operation Santa. Bruce Ashley.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here as the president of the Wakulla County Coalition for Youth, and we have announced and we are gearing up and moving forward, and I'm getting donations already for our second annual Operation Santa. I have a packet for each of you tonight. We were able to successfully help 50 families last year, 48 on the record, and we helped 2 off the record. At the last minute, we had an extra bicycle to give or 2. But we'll be running collection and asking the community at wide, speaking to the chamber in the morning. But we have a referral process for any family that anyone in our community knows is in need and has had a hard time this year, has children. Operation Santa is your coalition's effort, 30-plus organizations involved, collecting families and names in need, keeping that confidential, but providing a wish list to be filled for the children in those families to make sure they have a good holiday. We had very touching moments all last holiday season. Some families simply asked for laundry detergent. We know it's been hard economic times for many families. Employment's been an issue all year, but we'll be seeking referrals throughout the month of November. We'll be taking those collections and sorting them. We will take lightly used and new items of clothing, items of toys, items of household appliances, blankets, linens, things of that nature. But we also take gift cards, we take funds, and we take anyone who wants to adopt families themselves in their organization. Last year, numerous businesses from the chamber, numerous organizations in the county adopted families and filled out those wish lists, and we coordinated through the coalition. We've already today gotten lists of families that are already spoken for through the school board. The schools have adopted families this year. We're hearing from churches. We want to basically have a for Wakulla, for its families and its needs, a coalesced effort this year, and the Coalition for Youth is trying to make a more coordinated effort to help as many families as possible and make as many children's Christmas season happy as possible. So you'll be seeing more about it, hearing more about it. I've got it electronically on the Coalition's website. The Chamber of Commerce, or the Chamber of Commerce will have it on their website, wakulla.com. The Sheriff's Office all have the information. I spoke last week to the National Honor Society kids at our high school. They're jumping on board to support the Coalition's efforts this year, but we see it as a grassroots effort in our community to help our families who are in need this year have a happy holiday. So spread the word. Anybody that's got anything, don't wait till January and say, I'm taking this to Goodwill. If it's good, usable stuff, we want it now during the month of November. We're collecting at the community center, which I have access to through the county commission, as well as Scott Joyner down at the library has agreed to accept anything that's brought there. So we've got 2 convenient places for people to bring items, and I appreciate you giving me the time.
Bruce,
Commissioner.
If I have items that I want to donate to, are the specific items that you're looking for if I'm not adopting a family? Like I heard you say bicycle and laundry detergent.
Yes. Anything that you think a family could use that is usable, we take it. We manage the sorting of it and the delivery of it by the wish list of people and some people got nearly new bicycles last year. We were able to buy 20 bicycles. I went out and bought 20 bicycles brand new, but we got some nice things donated. Check your closets. I'm doing the same thing, but there are people in true need. And a lot of times what our family may wear one or two times and doesn't wear anymore is a perfectly good item of clothing for somebody who can't afford to buy it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Alan, you had a couple.
Yeah, I had two quick announcements I wanted to make tonight. One, so far I've been very lucky this year to be chairing the United Way to the Big Bends committee here in Wakulla County leadership team. As we've been trying to set our goal of raising $90,000 that we'll be able to help to distribute in Wakulla County. We're getting very close to our goal, and it is starting to wrap up this week. So if you have a business or if you're interested in participating with United Way at the Big Bend, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to connect you with Mark Dickinson, who's our coordinator here in Wakulla County, and we'd love to have more people participate. So make sure we can reach and exceed our goal and help meet the needs in Wakulla County. Also, along those same lines, I wanted to do a plug, and I want to thank. We've gotten some really decent media coverage from Wakulla News, Wakulla.com, Wakulla Area Times, and for the tomorrow evening at Posey's Dockside in Panacea, Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing a fish fry. Tickets are $10, and it's fried shrimp, cheese grits, coleslaw, iced tea, hush puppies, and there'll be a band, the Possums, which is Brandon Strickland, Cody Solberg, and Brian White will be playing. And it should be a really great time. It's from 5:30 to 8:30 tomorrow evening. The funds go towards helping Big Brothers Big Sisters keep a mentoring program here in Wakulla County. And we're getting really close to reaching our goal. So a few more people showing up would be absolutely awesome. Tickets will be available at the door. We look forward to seeing you there. Thanks.
Okay. Any other announcements? Okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda, and we wanted to remove 4 and 5, so we'll hear a motion to approve the remaining items.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we'll hear item 4 now. Request board approval to schedule and advertise a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance establishing the Wakulla County Airport Committee.
Staff would like to request that we add 2 members to the Airport Committee, therefore bringing the committee to a total of 7. And of those 7, 2 would be elected by the Board of County Commissioners, and the other one would be appointed by myself. This is the purpose of just trying to balance the committee some. So that would be we would request to amend the ordinance to take care of that.
So moved.
Second.
I have something to say on that.
Okay, hold on. Motion seconded. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure when I noticed that we're saying here that we're doing this so on behalf that the airport can solicit grants and so forth, I want to make sure that when they solicit a grant, that grant doesn't require matching county funds. I don't want to obligate the county in any way to...
If it has matching county funds, it'd have to come back before us, and we'd be able to look at it at that time.
Fine.
And I appreciate what you're saying, Jerry. It may be we get like Alan said, we can discuss it when it comes back if there's a match. It may be an in-kind, it may be some monetary, but we
Just
can
so long as we get
fight that out. Yes.
when it comes back.
Okay.
I also, actually, I think it's great that this group will be seeking grant funding. So, but I had some questions or suggestions. Maybe apparently the board will be selecting 2 of the appointees to this committee, and I wanted some clarification about the process that's going to be used to find those people and select those people. And also, I've been wondering if there is any specific expertise that we need to solicit.
We could say, just a thought here, guys, but whose district is the airport in? Right? We could say chairman and maybe whoever's district is in. That should be fine with me. I don't think we need to have a long vote on it. Or I think the point David's trying to get is to diversify the group, and I think that would accomplish it.
Bear with me a minute. How's it represented right now with just 5?
Hold on just a second.
It's 2 pilots,
Right.
and then someone from the TDC and someone selected by the board, and someone from
Two
Waterfront.
pilots.
each appointed by a different group. The Tarpine Homeowners Association, I think.
And then WAG, Wakulla Airport Guide, I don't know what the
WAG?
more. I can hold on.
Wakulla Airport
Advisory group.
Advisory.
I think we can just use, simple majority. We can put out interest to see who's interested, see who applies, and nominate and vote for someone.
And I think we've used that, which is fine if we're going to continue to do that, where we advertise for people in the community who are interested to be able to send in their resumes or expressions of interest.
Like with the CRTPA.
I just don't want to make it like the selection process for the administrator. I mean,
Oh, no. No.
I just want to make sure that when they go out for a grant, they're going to know if that grant requires matching dollars out of the county. So if you go out there and you bring forth a grant that requires the county to expend money on what I consider as a private airport, I'm not going to vote for it.
To clarify, there's one member selected by the TDC, one member by the Panacea Waterfronts Florida Partnership, and one member from the, at a minimum that has a sports pilot certificate or other aviation-related credentials, selected by the Wakulla Airport Advisory Group. The other member will be the same thing, same sports pilot certification or aviation-related, that's selected by the Tarpines Homeowners Association.
Who's the Wakulla Airport Advisory Group? Who makes up that group? I mean,
group of advisors. Can we just let David select 3 people? I'm fine with doing that, instead of us trying to pick somebody. I don't fly a plane.
I just wanted to have some discussion because I know, like, when we did the IDA, we identified particular areas of expertise, and especially, for example, this group is going to be seeking grant funds, so whether there needs to be anybody with either grant expertise, grant management expertise, a CPA, whatever, I don't know. They're going to be expanding the airport, so in terms of design or engineering, whether that's important to have. They're going to be managing an airport, so it's one thing to be a pilot, it's another to be knowledgeable about maybe the safety and management of an airport.
Those are all very good points, but I'd still be comfortable letting the administrator pick all 3.
I would support you on that, Randy.
That's just my opinion. But those are good points.
I don't think, I have no problem with David. I'm not saying David can't make all 3 appointments. But I think in the same way that we nominate people for the CRTPA by taking applications, looking them over, and one of us says, of the people that applied, I like John Smith. And then someone else say, well, I like Jane Smith. And we can argue about which one and pick in this situation the 2 of them, since we're picking 2, and move them forward. And when we're looking for people, we all know this position is going to be filled. So if we think they might need an engineer, we can call our engineer friends and say, engineer friend, please apply to be on this board. CPA friend, please apply to be on this board. And then we can argue that. It's fairly easy, and it's keeping some involvement from us in it.
Not to beat this to death, but I know that's the way it's been done in the past, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the best way to do it.
True.
I think if we take us out of it and take politics out of it,
I'm whatever y'all want to do. I'm fine with David picking the 3.
I'm perfectly fine with it.
I don't care.
It's so much easier.
You all are going to have to vote by resolution on it. I mean, he can pick the names, but ultimately the board will have to vote by resolution.
Approve it.
And as part of that process, if you select the people, would you issue an invitation for people in the public to apply? I'm okay with that.
So was there a motion to do such?
So moved.
Okay.
There's already a motion on the floor.
What was the motion we had?
It's we'll make it a friendly amendment to have David appoint them.
Who made the motion? Okay.
Commissioner Brock made the motion. Commissioner Mayor made the second. To approve advertising for it to make it 7 members instead of 1.
Yeah.
So we need to add to that then, Alan.
To have David appoint 3 of them.
Okay.
Now, I'm just going to put out there in this conversation, the only thing that makes me nervous with this, I, like David, I have very confidence in his ability. I always think making a decision based off one person's personality
Makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you say goes from 7 to 5?
Goes from 5 to
5 to 7.
5 to 7.
That's 2 additional, so David was already... You already have 1. You already have 1, so we're getting 3.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, request board approval to schedule and advertise a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance establishing the tourist development plan.
I asked to have this item pulled. I'd like to see, after talking with staff, I think it's important that we should have a workshop on this.
Second.
We would schedule and advertise a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance setting forth the updated tourist development plan with a workshop prior to the public hearing. Looking at the calendar, I would suggest having a workshop on Monday the 14th.
Which month?
Of this.
What will a workshop accomplish that we don't have now?
With the ability for us to talk more about it, hear the presentation, hear the presentation from the different TDC members and inform us more about what's going on, to make sure we're all caught up and to have the chance for them to present to us and make sure we have a good conversation about what the TDC is doing in Wakulla County.
Is that going to be a special workshop?
That would be a special workshop.
What do we got this Thursday?
It's a need. One of the things that's my understanding is the TDC is working on putting the final touches on the plan, and that Thursday is too close. We couldn't do it we couldn't advertise it in time to have it done on this Thursday.
Is there one scheduled in December already?
There is one scheduled in December. The issue there is one of timing. Your only meeting is December 5th, and we would then have to postpone the public hearing on your ordinance till January, because we wouldn't be able to, if there were any modifications that came out of that workshop, we wouldn't be able to incorporate them in time.
Let me back up real quick. The one on the 5th is the workshop for the redistricting?
5th is your board meeting.
Okay.
That's when you would have this public hearing to consider the ordinance. The 1st, is it December 1st, your workshop?
We don't have a workshop in December.
You don't have a workshop date in December right now.
I mean, we have a workshop day, it's the 8th, but we have one that's scheduled.
The 8th, okay.
We would
That be okay?
want to, my understanding is we want to give plenty of time for people to review it, and if we have changes, they have time to actually make changes so the public hearing can be approved so that it can move forward easily. So that night we aren't having to postpone this. What we want to have accomplished is that the plan, when it comes before the board, is approved on that day, so that we can stop having to rediscuss this every month.
And to give the board additional background on the details of the plan, because there's a lot of work that's gone into it, and the plan that goes into your ordinance is by design very high level, so that you have flexibility.
My suggestion, I was saying, was couldn't they just present the plan at the public hearing? But I guess you want to iron out any issues.
Like tonight, for instance,
if there are going to be any
if there's going to be any issues, we can have it all worked out beforehand, versus like tonight when we looked at our maps. If we had a workshop, we could have discussed all those concerns and maybe found really nice maps that everybody liked for our redistricting. So this would allow us for on Thursday to have the workshop, so we could make sure that everybody's on board and that there's not going to be any other unforeseen problems. I'm just trying to give y'all more information. If y'all don't want more information, I'm okay.
You're okay.
I'm okay. I know what the TDC's doing. The staff acts.
What about the 17th rather than the 14th? Is there...
I won't be here.
Oh, okay.
There's what about December 1st?
That's not enough.
December 1st? There's not enough time if there's any changes. So that's the other problem, because we have to advertise it for at least 10 days.
Okay, I can do the 14th. That's obviously...
Commissioners, there is a planning commission meeting that night at 6:30, so we just keep that in mind.
Right.
We should be able to knock out a presentation in an hour and a half, I think.
Whose idea was this? Yours? I mean, I don't need it.
I don't need it.
I don't need any more information, but Pam, you want to...
Pam, we may already have this settled. You may just want to wait. Can I make a motion?
No, because there's one...
We got floating around here on the floor now.
Well, I mean, the 14th is really soon. Really soon. When, you know, if we have to have a workshop, then I would ask for December the 1st. I understand if something changes, then we would have to re-advertise the ordinance, but frankly, I have a lot of confidence in our plan, as well as the fact that the ordinance, like she said, is at a high level, and I can't imagine that such major changes would be made at a workshop or requested that we would even have to mess with that high level. So I expect, I mean, I know you can't always predict these things. I'm just saying I would prefer, number one, if you're going to have a workshop, that I have sufficient time to prepare for it, because it won't just be a workshop that lays out our plan, because frankly, I've laid out the plan.
Let's see if
I've laid out the plan, and I've laid out the plan. What this will be is more education on not just the plan, but why the plan. Why is this the way that we feel like we need to spend our TDC money? What, you know, so, but I want time to properly prepare for something like that. And I also don't want to put off the ordinance. So
another option that could happen is if y'all wanted to try and set up individual meetings with Pam and maybe a couple TDC members, so we're not all. But the problem with that is you don't have the same level of conversation. So if I say, if I ask a question that makes y'all go, oh, that's something I hadn't thought about, I'm hoping that conversation, if you set up individual meetings, I just want to make sure everybody comes into the meeting well briefed. So
I don't think my position's going to change. I think maybe we should just go ahead and vote on it. A workshop's not going to change the way I feel about it.
Okay.
Okay, then maybe I need to talk a little bit about why I wanted a workshop. And
you wanted a workshop.
Well, I seconded it.
Okay, can we just cut it? If we're going to have the workshop, let's just have the workshop. Let's pick a day and have it.
Why can't we decide not to have a workshop?
I'm fine with having a workshop.
Let's decide that. I think we could have the presentation at the public hearing. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be any radical changes, and all of us are certainly welcome to read the plan. Or you may suggest, when is the deadline to make changes to this plan before and still meet? Let's say Ms. Arts or I say, hey, I think it'd be better if you did this instead of that.
Can I just say, again, the ordinance that we're talking about advertising just lays out the high level. So unless you really feel like those major goals that we've set need to be changed, you know, tweaking objectives and tasks we can do without doing it through an ordinance.
So your major objective may be promote fishing, whereas your sub things are do this boat ramp, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even more broad, you know,
More
it
broad
may
than
be
that.
promote recreation and nature and heritage-based tourism, and then, and just to reiterate, there's a plan. There's always been a plan. It hasn't, we've been working with a plan. It's goals, we have objectives, we have tasks, we have deadlines, we have it all. So that's what I was prepared to do at a public hearing, is take these broad goals that are in the ordinance and then show you the more specific tasks and the things that apply underneath, you know, each one.
Let me, one more question. I'm sorry, Jerry. The options on the motion say, public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance setting forth the updated tourism development plan. So we're adopting the plan that night.
Right.
Not just the big goals.
Well, I mean, I guess Heather can answer better, but I mean, my understanding is that you're adopting the ordinance that sets forth the major goals of the plan. But that doesn't mean that we can't change pieces of the plan without changing the ordinance. We just can't change those big major goals and allocations.
Personally enough, I got a question.
I mean, am I wrong about that?
What your ordinance sets out as far as a plan is major goals and percentages of funding. So,
and I'm not comfortable with those. So, well, and one of the major omissions I see is evaluation. I don't see evaluation anywhere in there, and I've heard that need a lot so that you can make informed decisions about the return on your investment. I think there needs to be an evaluation plan and not just tracking the tourist dollars. And yet and I see that as a category that's separate from those other 4 categories. So that's one reason. And the distinction between the second and third are kind of vague to me. I mean, the first and the second, I think, are a little vague. And I have some concerns when 75% is in one category, but maybe that makes sense. I don't know. So yeah, I do want to discuss the ordinance, so when Alan proposed a workshop, there are a few other things I wanted to discuss too, but this board doesn't seem very eager to have a workshop, so I don't know what the other options are.
If we can accomplish what we want to accomplish at the public hearing, we just don't want to have a meeting with it. Can we address the concern Ms. Art just mentioned? Those are apparently major changes, correct?
If there are major changes, you'd be left with re-advertising your ordinance and having another public hearing.
So it sounds like we need to have a workshop then.
Well, if we need to have a workshop, let's have a workshop.
Well, then can I just request, though, that you allow us to go ahead and advertise so that in case we don't have any big major change that ordinance can go through? I mean, we'll re-advertise if we have to, but we may not have to. But I also want the time, if I'm going to do a workshop, I want time to prepare for it well. So that's why I'm asking not for the November 14th. But
another option that we could talk about is trying to do a workshop at 4 o'clock on the 21st before our county commission meeting.
That's fine with me.
That would be fine.
Mr. Strickland. Most everybody's out of town on the 17th.
You need to be here more?
That'll be in November.
And then the 24th is going to be Thanksgiving. We could look at the 28th. Does that allow time for advertising?
No.
That's what I said.
What, the 27th last year?
The 21st is our county commission meeting. So I was saying at 4 o'clock on the 21st. Then I switched to the 28th.
We'll just give you in order to be heard on December 5th, the last day this ordinance can be advertised and meet the state requirement is November 24th.
So.
Can everybody else make it 4 on the 21st? I hate to say this. Jerry?
It seems like I can.
Mike, is that all right with you? No offense. We'll just have it on the same day. You won't be.
Okay. I'll try to be here. That works.
Okay. So 4 o'clock on the 21st.
Okay.
Okay. That's all. It'll be it'll be capped to, it'll be short. That's the problem with that, because our meeting's going to start at 5 o'clock, so we'll probably need to be done by 4:45.
Then I need to ask, like for some specific question. I mean, like I can provide you the plan document, but again,
I think each
that's not
commissioner needs
news.
to, what I suggest each commissioner get with you between...
Yeah, I would really appreciate that. I need to know what are the questions that I need to be addressing, or concerns, or whatever.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to set a workshop 4 p.m. on 21st of December.
December or November?
November.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Isn't it to approve the schedule and advertise the public hearing?
Yes.
And set a workshop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And set a workshop. Okay.
Hopefully the workshop will.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, just one more thing. If you already know what your concerns and questions are, if you could go ahead and give those to me, because I can discuss them with the TDC on Thursday. That's our next TDC meeting, so I think it would be really good for them to understand too what the concerns are, so that they can address them, because they are the council.
Or maybe go to the TDC meeting.
then we can't, everybody
Well,
can't
we only
go.
have one
Yeah, you can. You
commissioner.
can. They're publicly advertised. I mean, I think you can. You might not. I don't
Saying
know.
it-
That's not
Sounds
my
like
call.
Ms. Hart's had probably most of the concerns that, I'll volunteer not to go.
Well, I'm supposed to
The
attend.
representative.
Oh, I forgot.
He's on the council.
For quorum purposes, it's probably best if I'm there.
Yes.
You all you can certainly attend the meetings. I mean, what you need to avoid is discussion about matters that could come before this board, which is probably
This would
not
be.
a lot. I mean, it's just the plan, but not the details of. I don't know what you guys are talking about in your meetings, so it's hard to.
It's, well, I mean, if
I'll try and meet
because
with
of
you
this,
before
one of the items we'll be
Thursday.
discussing is what are the concerns and what's our, what's our response to that.
Back to what I said, just get with her separately and tell her what your concerns are so she can have them sorted out and be ready to answer them. That's not too hard. Okay. Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item is planning and zoning. Request board ratification of unrecorded zoning ordinances historically adopted. Seems like we're still cleaning up old business. Is that what we're doing?
That's correct.
Move to conduct the final public hearing and adopt the ratified unrecorded zoning ordinances based upon the recommendation of the Planning Commission, the findings of fact and conclusions of law made by the board and any evidence submitted at the hearings hereon, and include report from staff as
Second.
necessary.
And this is quasi judicial, so if there's anybody here who's going to speak or testify on this matter, please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if any of you all have had any ex parte communications about these very old matters, please disclose them.
We can just go ahead and vote.
And we've included your report.
Don't quit talking. Any more
These are-
discussion?
these are cleanup.
All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is general business.
This agenda item requests board approval of an amended contract with the Director of Tourist Development Council, and I believe Richard Harden is going to make that presentation.
Richard Harden. I'm the chairman of the Wakulla County Tourist Development Council. What I wanted to talk to you about tonight, for one, I'm in a little bit of a disadvantage where the night that they had, the day that they had the planning meeting, I was at work. I wasn't able to get off from work in order to be there involved in the discussion. So but I have reviewed this since then, and I'm in agreement with what it is the TDC is asking. But on September 6, 2011, the board approved an amendment and restated contract with the TDC director and clarified a number of issues, including the average number of hours expected from the TDC director per week, which is 20 hours. Whenever it went to 20 hours, then that changed it to where, because she wasn't at 30, she has to be at 30 hours in order to have access to health care. Whenever it was specified at 20 hours in the contract, then according to CHP and the rules, she was no longer allowed access to health care, and then her health care was cut. I believe it's $7,745 of what was part of her salary was paid to CHP for her health care, and the board had voted, the TDC had voted, I think about a year or so ago, in order for her to have access to health care, plus the county commission also voted. But whenever this happened, then it changed everything. So what the board is asking is that since the line item is going to be, what TDC board is asking is, since the line item is going to be changed, that instead of the money being taken out, instead of the $7,745 being taken out before she gets it, that it still be left in there, be part of her salary, but that she would have to still be able to find health care somewhere else. And I'm in support of this because I believe that and the board is in agreement that she needs to have access to health care. So what we're asking y'all to approve tonight is to amend a contract with the Director of Tourist Development Council and retroactively approve the amendment back to October 1st, 2011.
Okay. Hear a motion?
Move to... Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to
Approve the amended contract with the Director of Tourist Development Council and retroactively approve the amendment back to October 1st, 2011.
Okay. Have some citizens to be heard. Pam Portwood.
I mainly just wanted to, be available in case you had questions for me. I was able to speak to all of you individually with the exception of Commissioner Merritt. What I'm really hoping for is that we can get this done, and then that'll be my contract. And then we can just move on, and I can move on and do my job. That would be really good.
Yes, sir.
Pam, just because I don't know if everybody recalls, initially you approached us to try and help because to put you under our health insurance because as a contract employee, but you were having issues finding insurance. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Unless it's personal.
No, I'm fine with that. It's personal, but I'm fine with that. A couple of years ago, my husband was carrying our health insurance through his job, and as part of the economy and issues like that, he was laid off, so we were not able to get that group health insurance. I researched every individual coverage I could find, and you can't get individual health insurance coverage that covers pre-existing conditions. I am a breast cancer survivor, and I want very much to, my chances of getting breast cancer are a little higher than others, so I want health insurance that would cover that, and individual will not. It will only cover if it's under a group policy, because by law, under a group policy, they have to take pre-existing. So I went to Ben, and I should back up that before this came up, when the TDC was developing their budget for that year, the chairman at the time, Jerry Evans, he and I worked together on the budget and then brought it to the council for their approval. And there was already the desire to increase my hours. In fact, from the day I was hired, TDC said, will you be able to increase your hours as we can afford to do that? So they had done that. When the health insurance thing came up, I went to Ben to find out if there was any way that I could access the county's health insurance. And he, at the time, thought that we could. I mean, everybody did, the administration and everything. And so he requested, that the board allow me that access. He is also the one who, I think the first 3 months, the county actually paid for that. It didn't come out of TDC funds because it wasn't something TDC had budgeted, and I didn't request that. I asked for it to begin October 1, but Ben felt like it was the right thing to do, to offer the insurance immediately, and he got your approval to do that. So as of October 1, the TDC began, picking up that line item. We had that line item in our budget for my health insurance. But what I've tried to make clear in this agenda item, and anytime people ask me about it, is that my access to the health insurance was just that. It was still income to me. The clerk's office records that $7,745 that's paid to Capital Health Plan on my 1099 as income, because it is part of my compensation. So what I'm asking here is that you honor the contract that you already agreed to before in terms of my compensation. Always, from the time I began getting the insurance, my hours have been based on that plus the amount that was, on my salary line item as my pay, and that's how I figured out how many hours I work based on that. So does that help?
Okay. Jackie Youngstrand.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Jackie Youngstrand. I'm the Secretary of the Tourist Development Council, and I reside in Crawfordville. I just want to ask you to go ahead and approve this amendment to Pam's contract. It is just a matter of moving from health insurance line item over to her compensation of her salary, and it's everything that has already been approved prior with her contract and everything. So thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Tim Jordan.
I'm also a board member, and I want to just reiterate that that was the intention of the board, the amended contract, and the intention of what you guys approved. So I hope it's a no-brainer. Pam does a tremendous job. I wish we could hire more hours because she brings a lot to the table and does a phenomenal job. So thank you.
Sheree Miller.
I'm Sheree Miller. I'm on the TDC board, and also as a board member, we supported the amendment in this contract. It's something we did a couple years ago, and I feel like with Pam's work, she goes out and seeks for what she gets paid for, but she also doubles what we bring in looking for grants and other items, so I think it's well compensated.
Okay. Paige Colleen.
Paige Colleen, Panacea, Florida. I am not on the Tourist Development Council, but as a person with waterfronts, I have worked with Pam on different projects, and I can tell you she works a lot more than 20 hours a week. So I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and vote for her contract, because we have a real advantage with having Pam in our county, and I certainly would like to always have her here. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion by the board?
I would just want to make a comment. I have had people contacting me with concerns about the salary level and the health insurance issue and whatever, but I think I want everybody to understand this is not an increase in salary. This isn't adding anything new. It's the exact same total of compensation. And I actually think it's preferable that it's all being listed as compensation rather than separated out. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that this is not any kind of an increase.
I want to say something too. I agree with what Ms. Arch just said. David, does our contract with CHP allow us to have someone who's not a county employee underneath our county insurance?
When I contacted CHP,
Did you come to a mic, Debbie?
When I contacted CHP, I laid out the specifics of how Pam works with the county and her role, and they were okay with it as long as there was a written contract indicating that. And we provided them with a copy of the contract at the time.
That was my main question, that why this wasn't caught. Apparently it was checked on, though, to be sure she was eligible. Because I asked Tim, I asked Debbie, how can a person who's not an employee even get underneath our umbrella? But I guess the contractual relationship she has with the county makes her a quasi-employee.
Well, and the issue, and again for me, if for some reason Pam's hours go up, because the requirement, the trick wasn't the contract. It was that when we refined our contract and said it was 20 hours a week, CHP requires that you work 30 hours a week. So if Pam's hours go up under other grant funding or different role in the county, her contract may come before us again, and we may look to reestablish her with health insurance again. Because again, one of the major concerns is that she has a pre-existing condition that is limiting her access for health care, and she's at higher risk for breast cancer reoccurring. And if we have the ability to help, I'd like to see us try and help.
I understand your points. We can't really make a decision based on those facts. But before this contract was revised, did it delineate how many hours there? How did it slip through the cracks before? It didn't have the number of hours delineated. It didn't say 30 hours. It just said monthly wage.
That's correct. It did not specify the number of hours that she was working.
Just a crazy question, but why do we have to specify it now? mean, is that
Don't
just...
ask that question. You know why.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to at least, we
Says it
know
there.
why, because people want to see exactly how many hours they're working, and they want paperwork. There.
Okay.
I have a quick statement.
Okay.
Okay. I had a citizen ask me asked me actually 4 questions, and I referred those 4 questions to the attorney, and they're all 4 being accommodated for. One of them was, does Pam have a purchasing card? In this particular case, if she has a reason to purchase something, she does the purchase, brings it to the county, and we approve it. So Pam does not have a purchasing card. I believe that's correct, right? Is that not correct? She did have one. She will not have one going forward. There was another question as to whether the requirements required her to be a full-time employee, and under the rules, she is not required to be a full-time employee because David covers for that under his administrator position and so forth. So
That as pertains to a grant.
that pertains.
Right.
That's correct. That pertains to grants. And there was one other issue, and that is being addressed, and that other issue is being addressed and will be corrected more or less. But it has nothing to do here. It has nothing to do with you, Pam. Yeah.
Is your question answered, Mr. Merritt?
I didn't have a question. I was just simply...
Yeah, you did.
I'm the one that made the motion to approve this, so
Okay.
I'm in complete support of it. I just wanted to be sure why we got to this point. And it's what changed, the contract changed, and that Ms. Portwood was no longer eligible for capital help. I'm not asking a question, I'm making a point.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Yes, this agenda item requests board approval to allow Public Works to complete the paving of Old Shell Point Road and approval to execute work authorizations with Coastal Construction of Wakulla, Ernie Jaworski Trucking Incorporated, and C.W. Roberts to complete the project.
Move to approve Public Works to pave Old Shell Point Road, authorize the chairman to execute work authorizations with Coastal Construction, Ernie Jaworski Trucking, and C.W. Roberts.
Second.
Unanimous.
We have a motion and a second by Ms. Arts. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Good job, please.
It will go back to citizens to be heard. None?
What?
Let's roll with it. Okay, Commissioner, agenda items. Mr. Merritt, you said you had some?
No. I had it under discussion items.
Okay, Commissioner, agenda items. Ms. Arts? Sorry.
Yes, last year we applied for technical assistance from the Sustainable Communities Building Blocks program, and we were not selected for that initial round, but and it turns out I didn't even need to bring this to you because we would be automatically considered for the second round, but because our planning director, our point of contact has changed, and there have also been some progress on the Crawfordville Town Plan. What I opted to do with the help of Melissa was to submit an updated request for technical assistance for this next selection process. The good news is they'll be choosing a total of 50 communities now. I think that's correct, which is, we have a better shot. On the other hand, they say most of the people who apply still won't be selected. But we can hope. And this would really help us move forward with the Crawfordville Town Plan, I think.
Do you need a second?
So it really, I move that the board accepts this update.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to accept the update. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and I tabled the second item that I had, and if we go down to the third, This is pretty exciting, and it was on, I just found out about it on November 1st. But we have another opportunity to obtain free technical assistance, and this would be to apply the LEED-ND rating system, which LEED-ND stands for Lead for Neighborhood Development. And I talked about this during our workshop on smart growth and sustainable communities. It's developed by the same partners that developed the regular LEED system for buildings, and now they're using it to improve energy efficiency and sustainability at a community level. It's been tested and is now available as a national standard for planning communities. And this is a chance to be selected to receive free technical assistance from Global Green, which has received a grant from the Sustainable Communities Program to do this. And if we're one of the 9 communities selected, we will receive a 3-day intensive visit and by a team from Global Green, and at the end of the visit and then afterwards in written format, they'll present recommendations for physical and policy changes that may include street width changes, integrated energy and water infrastructure, creating standards for infill and transit-oriented development, or zoning code revisions to allow for such things as mixed-use development. And this assistance would be invaluable to further development and implementation of the Crawfordville Town Plan. And this application is due, one document says November 18th, one says November 23rd. I haven't clarified yet, but it could be before our next board meeting. I'm willing to take a lead on preparing the application, so I move that we approve applying for no-cost design assistance from the LEED-ND Technical Assistance Program.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Question. Ms. Arch, when you say take the lead, does that mean you're going to do it?
I'm going to write it, but it's usually helpful if someone on staff actually submits it electronically with the proper county information.
I want to make sure we don't pile on something else, but if you're willing to do it, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll write it. I'd like others on, our planning folks to review it, and probably John Sewell with Kimley Horn to review it. But yeah, I'll write it.
With all due respect.
No match.
Okay. I'm not even going to vote for it for no match. I've had green. I'm drowning in green. Just the word green, I'm drowning. I don't want any more rules or regulations on how we do business. I don't want somebody telling me how we have to do business.
Not even incentives?
Not even any. Green is not my best color. So I'm not going to vote for this.
There's nothing in here that talks about regulations or whatever.
Well, you'll get it passed anyway.
Oh.
Okay. Any more discussion?
We'll be lucky if we're selected.
All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries 4-1. That all your items?
Yes, thank you.
And next is mine is asking the board to, we've done this a number of times. I'm just bringing this forward as a public service for the folks who work for Habitat for Humanity, which is to waive the impact and building fees and to approval to reimburse the fees for current application. We're talking about $1,245 is what it is. It's entirely up to the board.
I'll make a motion for you if you can't make it yourself.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Merritt to approve.
Second.
Yeah.
Seconded by Mr. Brock. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You're going to spend $299? Cars.
Next is request board consideration of a letter of support for the City of St. Mark's application for a 2012 EPA Brownfields cleanup grant for the property known as the former St. Mark's refinery site.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Moore, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Arch.
Ms. Arch.
Let's keep that on the record.
Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Moore?
Okay, do I have to address that, I guess? I request the board approval to be removed from the canvassing board and to appoint some other commissioner. I think that possibly going forward I may have a conflict on that board.
Second.
Do you have a nominee?
I think Randy's the only eligible person.
Well, I was going to leave it up. Randy is the person who it is. So I was like, if this is Randy's chance to say no.
Well, I talked to Buddy about this, and I think Jerry's the Republican. You're on the Republican committee. You're up for election. You're up for election. You're up for election. So I'm it. So I'll take it.
We need a motion then to appoint Randy to the
Second.
canvassing board.
I think Lynn motioned.
Okay, that was motion and a second. All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next is, now we'll revert back. No, we won't. We'll go forward. County Attorney.
Nothing tonight.
County Administrator.
Yes. At this time, we'd like to request board selection of the chairman and vice chair to be officially sworn in on November 21st at the board meeting on November 21st.
Okay, so we just need to be thinking of who we want to nominate.
We have to nominate.
That's right. What I'll do is I'll open the floor and call for nominations for chairman.
Now?
Now.
Okay, I nominate Chairman Stewart and to continue, Mike Stewart to continue as chair and Alan Brock to continue as vice chair.
I won't accept the nomination, but thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll nominate Alan Brock for chairman. Do we need to do both? We just do one at a time.
We'll do one at a time.
Second.
Okay, so we have a nomination for Alan to be the chairman. You accept that nomination?
I'll take it.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we need a vice chairman, is that right?
Vice chairman, yes.
Nominate Commissioner Arts.
I decline. I nominate Commissioner Merritt.
Okay, I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second then for Commissioner Merritt to be the vice chairman. All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That doesn't interfere with the canvassing board at all, does it?
No.
Never know. Never know.
Okay, so at the next meeting, they'll be seated as the chairman and vice chairman.
Vice chair.
Very good. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you too, sir.
So,
Survive.
Mike, you have to move all the way down there.
I don't care where I move.
No, I'm just
I want my chair.
All right, discussion issues by commissioner.
We have.
Well, I got one
I'm
more.
sorry, I'm sorry.
I got one more. I'd like direction and or authorization to send a letter to the USDA to go ahead and close out our grant for the transfer station. I'd like board direction on that, please.
Okay, we need a motion to direct him to do so.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Also, one other thing, Commissioner, Chairman. As you all may know or may not know, Jennifer Langston, she has tendered her resignation. She will be furthering her career.
Do we have to accept it?
I tried that, but she won't take that. We wish her well, but in doing so, we'll be like to request to be able to advertise for her position. But although that position, we will be turning it into a little more of a hybrid position to take care of some other issues such as grants and more economic development. So, but we'll further define that here in the next meeting, and also I'll be bringing forth a org chart that'll help define that process out as well.
Okay. Well, we're sorry to hear you're leaving, but good luck in your future endeavors. If you need us, you know where we're at.
Unfortunately, in life, you usually got to move on to move up. I wish you the best of luck.
And thank you for all your hard work and great successes for our county.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Mr. Brock?
Are we going down to discussion items? Well, and Commissioner Arts, I think, has already drafted a letter. I hadn't drafted a letter, so she might be a one-up on me.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that this was on here.
No worries. I will gladly defer to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. The Chamber of Commerce, Wakulla Chamber of Commerce is applying for a historic preservation grant funding to put roller shades on all the windows in the courthouse, which will help with the acoustics. It'll help with energy efficiency and expenditures on utilities. It'll help with sun fading due to sunlight, and it will improve the comfort and the functionality of the rooms, and hopefully increase the use of the courthouse for things such as the play that the Historical Society recently had there, as well as all the meetings and such that go on. So anyway, I drafted a letter and it is ready to be signed tonight. It needs to be submitted by the 10th. So Jessica, do you have copies of the letter? Or okay. And I think John Schuff, who's president of the chamber, is here to answer questions or address any concerns. There's no match, no commitment by the county here.
I have no questions or concerns.
Okay, do we need I'll sign it right now if you'll make a motion.
I move that we approve the letter of support.
All for the motion?
I wish the chamber the best of luck.
Yeah.
Are these curtains? That what went curtains?
We were thinking about curtains to begin with, but after having some discussions with the Bureau of Historic Preservation, the head architect up there, they felt like these roller shades would be the most appropriate thing. Given the period that the building was built in, and we pretty much we have a covenant from our special category grants that we got to build the building for 10 years, that they have to approve what we put in the building. So we pretty much relegated. I mean, it never looked nice, but we're relegated to doing it that way.
So roller shades are more historically accurate than curtains?
I'm sorry?
Roller shades are more historically accurate with 100 and some odd years ago than curtains?
He's going to have a picture of a mullet on him.
Hey, no worries. I hope it works out.
You got any other items?
Excellent. I did want to encourage everybody, we passed to advertise a new event ordinance. I encourage everybody to make sure you look it over. And if you have any questions, to talk with Bethany. She helped draft it. Or talk to Heather, just to make sure that we've got it all worked out. I'm not pushing for a workshop, so that's just my little thanks.
As chairman, you can't make motions for workshops.
Oh, I could still put things on here. Is that that was your whole plan, wasn't it, sir? And then I want to do one more plug again for in case people have changed at home watching. Tomorrow night is the fish fry at Posey's Dockside in Panacea from 5:30 to 8:30. $10 tickets. $10 gets you fried shrimp, coleslaw, cheese grits, hush puppies, iced tea. There'll be live music by Brandon Strickland, Cody Solberg, and Brian White, calling themselves the Possums. And the money goes to benefit Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the Big Bend and their mentoring efforts here in Wakulla County. And I hope that y'all can all come out. It's going to be a great night.
Randy, you had an item?
I wanted to belly about speed limits. Specifically, I've gotten a lot of people calling asking why in the world you lowered the speed limit on 61 to 35, and I'll probably bring up an agenda item, but back in 2000 we actually had an engineering company do a study on most of our major county roads based on design criteria, stop and sight distance, curves, recommending the speed limit, and I'd just briefly like to read you the state statute on changing the speed limit. Specifically, after engineering and traffic investigations, the state or local governments within their jurisdiction may increase or decrease the statutory speed limit on a highway. So, in other words, it's not supposed to be arbitrary. Now, even though 319 is design speed may be 65, it's not set at 65 because of the, number of driveways and the conditions. I would just ask that any speed limit change we made be done on clearly identified DOT criteria. I know this happens a lot in the past. I had to go on Shadow Oak Circle and change the speed limit to 15 miles an hour, which nobody's going to do. And you may say, well, why don't you want speed limits, Lord? Because it forces people to break the law. You know, Trice Lane used to be 25 miles an hour. We raised it to 35 just so people wouldn't get tickets, even if the sheriff's department doesn't give them a ticket. You know, we're not forcing them to break the law, but, you know, I wouldn't say encouraging, but you know what I mean. And I know the logic is that, well, if they go slower, they're safer. Well, if it's safer from 55 to 35, why don't we drop it on down to 15 miles an hour? Then we'll be really safe. There's some point where, you know, criteria that there are, I think DOT has clear criteria. If you got a certain density of roadways or driveway access that's along a stretch, then it's perfectly justifiable. And the engineering study could be Brent Hill looking at it and saying,
There's actually a manual that DOT puts out that I can
Green
send
Book.
you. Yeah, I've had that.
DOT Green Book.
And I don't agree with it, and I'll tell you why, just for the sake of argument, Randy. Right up here, case in point, is right here in Crawfordville. You know, we went through this with the CTST back when you worked for the county. It's 45 and then 35. It's a speed trap right there. That's a speed trap, and they won't change it. We've asked them to change it. I think it ought to be either 45 or it ought to be all 35.
You're talking about
right up
main
here.
drag?
Yes, right up here in front of Sonic. There's a little stretch there that catches it, and they sit right there and write tickets nonstop. Well, the case in point about one of the roads you're complaining about, I've heard, is over here on Lower Bridge or Martin Luther King, is that the speed limit's been lowered at that very dangerous intersection. CTSD met, board approved it, and it's logical. It's logical for it to be 35 miles per hour there.
You talking about Martin Luther King, or I'm
talking about Martin Luther King.
What I saw, there's a curve right there with a couple of school bus stop ahead signs.
Yeah.
You turn off onto Martin Luther King off the Spring Creek Highway. It's 55. Then it drops to 45 for that curve. Then it goes back up to 55 when you pass through the curve. There's no rhyme or reason for that. We can put all the yellow signs out there till we're blue in the face, advisory signs saying, 45.
Okay.
But you can't give a ticket for the yellow sign.
I'm gonna vote to err on the side of safety. I don't care what the state says, because I don't believe the state is accurate in their assessment of the speed zones. I've always said that. I've told them that in the meetings we've had with them. I'm on the CTSD. I have been for years. I'll be glad to relinquish that position and let you be on it. But the bottom line is that I'm gonna, if the citizens ask, and that's what I've gotten from the majority of the citizens, where we lowered that speed limit. And the same thing here, we're here on 61. I'm not sure why we went to 35. I thought we were going to 45.
It was 45. That's what this study says.
Okay, and I don't have a problem with you then they're putting it back to 45.
We don't have a problem. Then we don't have a problem.
Well, my understanding was you didn't like the speed limit on Martin Luther King Road.
Not for a quarter of a mile section jumping from 55 to 45 just for a curve. I mean, I understand if you're lower to 45 as you approach it, fine, but that's not the way it is.
Okay.
It goes 45, then it goes back up to 55.
Well, then that makes sense. I thought it was going into the intersection.
No, I agree with that 100%. When you come to a dangerous intersection, you should lower the speed limit. I agree.
Okay.
So we agree?
I don't know, Randy. Say so, then fine.
I will say the area, because I've had a couple citizens who I thought were kind of, I didn't expect to have phone calls on this, and then you said you've had some too, about Shadeville Highway. But we've lowered the speed down in front of our community center and the child care facility, which both, if things go according to plan, should have children out front playing, and it's better just to drive slower in front of those areas, in my opinion.
All right, well, so it's 55 in front of Happy Times Daycare. Are those kids any less important? I mean, if they're doing their job, they're not supposed to have the kids running out on the road, right?
The community center.
Well, community center shouldn't have kids running out on the road.
But it's also the quality of the road, Randy. You know that. You're an engineer, and that road over there is substandard to the road up here that's 55.
And at 45, I'm fine with that.
And if you could figure out a way to make the state raise the speed limit through
No, I'm not talking about state roads.
Newport.
This study was from Wakulla County, county roads.
Up to 45.
And I agree it ought to be based on some sort of fixed criteria. You and I went through that years ago, and we came up with ideas about how to set speed limits on our roads.
You and I were together on the CTSD for years.
We did. So we can fix it. Okay, Ms. Art.
You limit to 45.
Yes, first a question, I guess. We're changing chairmans. Are we also reviewing and reassessing assigning our committee and board responsibilities? Do we need to go through that process?
I don't think so.
I'd like to. Okay, you don't...
I guess the chairman
so
can
it's a
change
two-
whoever he wants, is that correct?
There might be some that are one-year terms. If there's any appointments, Jennifer, before you leave, can you just double-check and see if there's anyone we need to go through?
Yearly and agenda items will be coming back in December, and before that, we get now, what you are doing, transfer preference.
Okay, so we are going to do that. Okay. Also, I just wanted to tell you about an interesting workshop that I went to at St. Mark's. It was mainly for St. Mark's Refuge employees, but also their stakeholders, interested parties, and it involved a number of people from Washington and other places who were very high-power, knowledgeable folks. Anyway, what Department of Interior at the federal level is asking all of the refuges in its system and the national parks and so forth to do a series of things. One, to calculate or estimate their greenhouse gas emissions, and to estimate their greenhouse gas emissions and look for ways to reduce them. Also, to anticipate the effect of sea level rise on their facilities, because a lot of the refuges are barrier islands and so forth, and to look at what kind of adaptations they can do. And so it was an interesting, there were interesting presentations and discussions in their analysis of greenhouse gas emissions, that 40% of their emissions were estimated to come from buildings. And then they also did some calculations on visitor emissions, which is not, they aren't required to reduce those, although at some point they may factor in. But they were included in the discussion. So, for example, they're going to be getting an electric tram, and so they're hoping to reduce some of the driving trips out to the lighthouse, for example, through the use of the tram. And then in terms of the adaptation, they sea level rise by 2010 was estimated between 3 and 6 feet, which is going to put a good bit of the low-lying areas there underwater or make them more vulnerable to storm surge. So they had discussions about the levees and which ones should they
Did you say
let go.
2010?
No, I'm sorry, 2,100.
We got a little while.
Oh, it's right.
I was like, whoa.
No, sorry, that was last year. Sorry, no, sorry, 2,100. Yes, it's a slow, gradual thing, but with the increase in sea level rise, also greater storm surge and so forth. So they're having to, like the lighthouse, they're having to decide, do they want to put a lot of money into restoring the lighthouse, or do they want to think about moving the lighthouse and then restoring it? So, it was interesting discussions. And the last thing, now I'm forgetting it. Anyway, it was an interesting workshop, and I enjoyed participating, and
Is it the refuge?
Right. And I forgot the last thing I was going to say. I got distracted. But anyway.
It's a senior moment.
Yeah, right. Maybe.
Mr. Moore.
Probably for the children out there, if you happen to be watching this broadcast,
No kids are watching this.
I have really good news for you. We have animals at our animal shelter at Chat, and they're waiting for you to come take them home for Christmas. We have dogs and cats, and there's just a small fee. So I want you all to have a new pet for your Christmas. So go by Chat and pick one up and take your mother and dad. There's just a small fee.
Is Operation Santa accepting pet donations?
Seriously.
I just thought, can I just put this last thing in there? Apparently there's a real issue at the refuge with potable water or water even that they can use to mix up things. So some of the discussion also focused on trying to collect rainwater in cisterns or whatever, because if anything, that problem's only likely to get worse.
And if you remember, the house at the end was on Wakulla Beach. I think everybody remembers the big cistern house here. It's with curves.
I'll tell all my grandkids to watch out for high water.
Great.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.